Okay, well, it says that I'm live, though I cannot see anybody. So that's really interesting. Post comment layout. That okay. Yeah, I want this layout. There we go. So let's see if that helps it. So we're going to call this part the green room chat. And I wanted to go live a little bit early so that I could work out the kinks because I don't have any clue what I'm actually doing. I just changed the layout, so that should be done. I still don't see me, and I don't see you guys either. Let's see, maybe I have to do it over here. And this clearly doesn't work because I don't want to go live from here. So let's stop the cam. Let's just enter the studio. And I should be. Okay, that's not gonna work. The studio is full.
Hey, how are you? I can't hear anything you're saying. I can't hear you at all. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, now we have reverb.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna figure it out. Don't worry. That's why I got us on a little bit early. Okay, let's turn this one down. Okay, now how about that?
Much better. Can hear you
Okay,
and see you. How you doing?
Oh Lord, I'm glad that I scheduled us a little bit early. So this is gonna be called the green room conversation. Let me see who else. What other? There's Miss B. Let me bring you in. Miss B, can you hear me? Can Miss B hear me? She must be on the.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? I just added you to the stream. Let's see. And there's Nyambi. Okay. So I have
Can you
all
hear
three
me?
of my co-hosts.
Now I can hear someone. Who is it that I hear?
Is it me, Nyambi?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes, that is. That's you.
Hi, how you doing?
All right. How you doing?
Okay, can you hear me, Miss B?
So I can hear you, but I can't. Now I can't. I've never been able to hear Xavier.
You still can't hear
Okay.
me?
Now I hear you, Xavier.
I
I
wonder
don't
why.
hear her.
I
Now,
wonder why.
Xavier, do you hear me?
I do hear you. I hear Miss
Okay.
and I hear Chat Daddy.
Well, let me try it with headphones and see if that makes it different.
Chat Daddy, do you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. I can, and I can hear both of the ladies. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing?
Good
Good
afternoon.
Ooh,
I only
good
hear
afternoon.
everyone else and not Xavier.
I wonder why you can't hear me.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because
You know
everybody
what?
else hears me.
Let me grab a plug really quickly.
Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, shucks. I forgot.
But
I can't do that. I can't do the headphone thing. So,
And you
iPhones, this 12, they don't allow for both at the same time. You have to do one or the other. And I have it on
okay.
charger.
Okay.
So this is exciting. We're feeling our way out.
Yes, this is called the green room conversation, and I scheduled us to go a little bit before 3:00 so that I could figure it out
I'm
because
so disappointed. I cannot hear
I
you.
actually have quite a few guests, and so I asked them if I was going to be able to get everybody on, and they said that I would be able to get everybody on, but I could only have 10 on the screen. But now everybody is telling me that it's saying that the studio is full. So I
I'm
have.
going to turn off my camera and try something else.
I'm gonna have to mute you because you keep. So let me mute her. I don't know how to. Let me figure that out. I guess I don't want to do that. Oh Lord. Must be. Yeah, I am on. I am.
Then their brand you shouldn't even have to have their brand up there.
And I didn't. I don't know why that's even up there because I did. I have a membership account. I paid for
Okay.
it, so I know.
Okay. Because then all of their logos, this should strictly all be your logo.
Right. I'm glad you said that because yeah, that's not actually. Well, actually, I clicked on it. I mean, I could have. Mine is up there too. You see
And then
mine up there?
because 10 can get on, but it'll probably drain your transmission depending on people's Wi-Fi quality and level.
And I had a white overlay, but when I do the white overlay, it goes over everything. So that's why I have the overlay. So that's why I have theirs on there because I don't know how to put mine on there. We got 5 minutes for me to figure it out. Whew.
So now all of this is live on your page now, right?
Yep, I do know that.
Okay.
So I'm refreshing it. Because there was no other way for me to figure it out unless I just did it, Edit my settings. My browser. Okay. And I don't want my camera on this one. Okay. My mic is working. I'm going to enter the studio. Man, this is crazy. I probably should have ran through this with y'all yesterday, huh? So I want my camera on this one. Okay, there we go. So I'm on this one. Well, what I wanted to talk to you guys about during the green room conversation was how similar the social media personality is. Did you guys watch Millionaire Matchmaker back in the day?
I watched it before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you've watched Millionaire Matchmaker, I was watching it the other day, and the process is so very similar. I think that is the black male millionaire matchmaker. I think that's what he's going for, because she did the same thing. Did you ever watch that chart at Art?
Maybe once or twice, but not enough to, really know the gist of how the show runs.
So you're saying Kevin Samuels? I had walked away. He's trying to go for that?
Yes, his setup is pretty much exactly the same, because as she picked the girls for the show, she would pick them based on their looks, but also based on their accomplishments.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's interesting because he, is all about the male accomplishments, but not so much the female accomplishments. It seems like, I don't know. I guess we'll wait for the show, because I'm like, a lot of the things he says seem so contradictory to me. But,
but he is speaking. He's speaking for the most part for the average guy who thinks like he does. You get what I'm saying? And don't let it be a guy who's been disadvantaged for so long, and now he's made something of himself, and his options and choices are so great. That's what makes it that type of situation.
And you know what else I noticed though, Chat Daddy? When I'm on social media, the men that I see really grabbing on to what he has said are men that, by his definition, aren't necessarily high value. They don't have a lot. They aren't the 6'2", 6-figure dude. They look more like they have not gotten what they wanted, and this little information has made them be able to feel like, oh, now I can say that I'm better than all those women who said no to me. Oh, you're 36. Aha, you have no value. But you couldn't get her anyway. And you're not high value according to his definition. So they kind of like really are, jumping on that. And I'm like, really, dude?
Well, yeah, it sounds about right, because there are not enough men for every woman who's looking for a man. And then you have a situation where women have just done so well in this day and age that really, when you think about it, what's the bottom line of what you want more than anything when it comes to a man?
I want someone who's healed enough to actually love and receive love. That's what I really want. I mean, finances is important because we need that to live, but that the relationship between me and him is the most important for me. That's what my thing is. So it is 3:00, and I'm about to figure this thing out. We're gonna wing it a little bit. I want to welcome everybody to the Xavier Fox Talk. We were just having a little green room conversation while I figure out StreamYard. You guys have to kind of bear with me because this is my first time manipulating this thing. And it seems like something is a little bit malfunctioning on StreamYard's part, because it says StreamYard and it shouldn't. It should just have my stuff up here. So the way that I'm going to do this, since I can only have what they told me I could do is not actually what I can do, So right now, I am going to take the guests in the order that they're going to appear. So if I need Ava and I need Ambrielle to get into the studio. So Denise and let's see, Julia's going to be up pretty soon. Denise and Juanita, if you guys can log out and then just watch the show until I call your name, and then you can come back in so that you can make room for Ava and for Ambrielle, because you are the two guests that's up first. So let's go ahead and let them get on in here. Ava and Ambrielle, if you guys are listening and trying to get in, come on and get in right now. Click your link so you can get in right now. Okay, so I had a few other things while we're letting them get in here. So we talked about the Millionaire Matchmaker. I wanted to talk to you guys because you guys have had shows. Well, Art, I know you Chat Daddy. Art Chat Daddy Sims, you know, he's in the building and he's an icon here in Chicago. He's had a show. I don't know how long he's had a show. How long have you had a show?
It depends on, I mean, do you mean television, radio? I've been in the business for 26 years.
Woo, Lord. Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
Miss B, can you hear me now? I guess she still can't hear me. Okay. Niambi, do you do a show or you're a speaker more so?
I'm a public speaker, so I go around and speak to large crowds about different things. One of the things that I spoke about most recently is why Black history is important. And I generally am doing that with all white crowds. So it's very interesting. And
yeah, that would
I think, go ahead.
I just said that would be interesting to speak about Black history to all white crowds. So I was saying that because I wanted to get into what you guys think about shock entertainment, because to some degree, Patty Stanger did a little shock. And then he said on one of his videos that he was advised to do the shock entertainment. So what, Art Chat Daddy Sims, what's your views on shock entertainment?
I am so clueless with, is this a TV show?
Well, you know, shock entertainment. So Howard Stern was shock entertainment. Shock entertainment. It's like the way that you present your stuff. You know, what's your idea on that?
Oh, I love it. I think, you know, that's what media is all about. It's about sensationalism. It's about how a person presents what they present. And the reason why I asked, I was like, is this a show? Keep in mind, my shows have always been in the evening, so I've never been able to watch nighttime television until later in the evening. So I apologize for that. But shock is what we do. I mean, if we look at Nicki Minaj, if we look at Cardi B, if we look at any of those artists, it's all about shock value, and that's what people are attracted to.
Right. Okay. Well, so what about you, Niambi?
So I agree with Chat Daddy. I think that it's good because it gets people talking. It gets people having conversations that they might not normally have. I think the one thing that I'm always wary about, though, is, you know how we say there's power in the spoken word. And right now we're talking about what's high value, and a narrative has been put out there. And the more you repeat something, it becomes the truth or the reality for the general culture. So I like it because on one hand, it starts conversations, but I think that you also have to kind of be careful with the message that you're giving or the purpose behind that message that you're giving through shock entertainment.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons I actually wanted to have a conversation with, you know, someone who wasn't trying to really shock everybody. I just really wanted to get the conversation out there. You know, what really is a high quality man or a high quality woman? And one of the things that caught me when I was listening to one of the videos is that one of the things that they're putting out there is that women lose their value after 25. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was shocking in itself, because I feel like I definitely have improved on the 25-year-old version of myself. No, I mean, there's so much more to having value than just being young and able to give birth. And giving birth was one of the things that, you know, kept coming up. And I had some young girls on here because one of the things that really kind of gets me is how do they feel like the women in their age group have no value when women who are 25 are probably not actually interested in a 50-year-old man. Except
wait, I'm offended. I look,
you like all the young girls want me, right, Chat Daddy?
I'm like, look, just period.
You like they don't call me Chat Daddy for
right,
nothing.
right. No, that's it. Right. Okay, I digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I found that kind of interesting that I think he's 51 or something like that would put so much value on a 25-year-old. So I am still waiting for Ava and Ambrielle to come in here and give us their take. Those are my 25 and under young women, the very attractive women. And I just wanted to ask them, you know, if they are open to a relationship, because they're saying that is the age group that has the most value. So that would mean that they're looking for a relationship with these women, I'm assuming. So I want to know if they were open to a relationship with a 50-year-old man at 20 and 22. But since I don't see them actually in here, I am going to just reminisce. Niambi, might you reminisce with me?
Yes.
When you were in your early 20s, were you going after, you know,
somebody who was old enough to be my daddy? I didn't know I was not. That as a matter of fact, it would seem gross and creepy to me then. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm in my 40s and I don't want to date somebody in their 60s because you know, but when I'm 60, I'll probably find them more attractive. But in my 20s, especially, no, because of course they tried to talk all the time. And I was like, no, kind of gross, you know, so no, I was not interested at all. What about you?
Is she?
I think she's frozen. I think she's frozen.
Too.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one thing that I will say is that value is determined by the market. There is a market for 50-year-old men who want 25-year-old girls. There are some girls, because if they base what they're looking for on money, or they could, and I'm not even going to be insulting and say it's all about money. Some of them might be looking for more of a father figure and looking for that wisdom. So no, I'm not looking for that, but I'm not going to say that there is no young lady looking for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like any investor, value is determined by the market.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You are.
Yes.
I think everybody needs to figure out where they are in life. I have two friends that I went to high school with. You know, they've recently married some young ladies that are 27, 28. And you know, but you know, very accomplished young ladies. These are very accomplished gentlemen, and they were saying that they could not find anybody who was equally yoked to them. You know, they just felt it had been a lot of issues. Been there, done that, divorced. Really felt as if their life was still great physical shape. Mentally still sharp, and wanted somebody that they could share their life with. So I don't, you know, I'm not trying to down sisters at any age, but I do know men are now turning that clock back and looking for something younger.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I see it on both sides. My cousin, her husband was 10 years younger. They are now divorced, and the guy that she's seeing is like 16 years younger. That's just what she likes, and they like her back. You know what I'm saying? And these aren't, you know how like we like to call women who date younger men cougars, and I think that's all. But we don't give that title to an older man, and it's almost like, let's say this to offend the woman and make it like she's somehow being a sugar mama. It's never those situations. These are men who have bought her houses, take care of her. And they're very young men. So, you know, this is just, you like who you like.
How is this? How are they going to kick me off and I'm the host of the show?
I know. They're doing the most right now. They are acting up.
But that's why I wanted to have some co-hosts that I knew could step right on in and just keep the show going. It's like, oh, she gone. Okay, well, this is now my show.
Yeah, you asked an interesting question, so we had a lot to say about it.
We did, and it was a good dialogue. So
Okay, and I remember I wanted to tell my story as well.
Yes.
When I was 24, I lived in Atlanta. That was back when Atlanta was hot and popping, man. And it was really interesting because I'm 24 and I was over at the happy hour because I lived across the street from Michael Jordan's club back then. Not Michael Jordan. What's his name? He played for Atlanta. I can't remember his name. Wilkins, Dominique Wilkins. That's his name.
Okay.
So yeah, I lived across the street from his club, and so I used to go over there for happy hour and stuff. And I met this guy over there because IBM was right up the street. Actually, they were in the same building that I actually worked in at the time. And I met this guy at IBM getting on the elevator, and he came over to the happy hour. And he was 35. I was 24. And at the time, I was like, this dude is old.
You see how relative everything is?
It's relative, right? Because now a 35, I got a kid older than 35. So, now that's but yeah, I remember, and he was like, and he worked for IBM and had been working for IBM for a while. And, he was telling me all the stuff he could do for me and all.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost her.
Did we lose her again?
She might just be frozen for a moment.
All right. Well, I'll do what I normally do on my show. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Xavier Fox Show. Right now, she's experiencing some technical difficulties, but I'm here with these two amazing ladies who I just met today, and we are talking about high value and quality of relationships. And what I didn't get to share as of yet, but I'm a member of the LGBTQ plus community. So I understand men from a whole different level. And that's where a lot of my thought process comes from. And so, ladies, maybe you want to introduce yourselves while we're waiting on our host. Miss B, I noticed you're back with us. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Finally, I'm able to communicate. I have been backstage for 30 minutes now. Able to hear you all, but not able to hear Xavier. And then I backed out, came back in, and it threw me backstage where I don't think she ever saw me because she never brought me on. So she couldn't see that I was backstage. But this is all a learning curve for her. And after the show, we'll talk about it and work some things out. It's fun to be able to do this. So, it's a work in progress. I've had the pleasure, though, of listening to you all communicate, and it's been very interesting. I think you started out talking about high value, and people don't like to. We don't like to hear the truth. It makes us uncomfortable sometimes to think that there are, there is a measurement and that there is a value in the marketplace, and everybody sizes up to it some sort of way. That doesn't mean, though, that you can't be happy with yourself and proud of yourself and work on improving yourself or any of those kind of things. It doesn't mean, like I think one of you said, it doesn't mean that you don't have any value. Of course you do. Okay, but it's like comparing anything else. If you compare my bank account to, Barack Obama's bank account, it's going to look extremely different. So, there's a value there. There's a difference there. And we need to recognize that and accept it for what it is, because that's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And like we were saying, it's determined by the market. So I may be less valuable to this person than I am to this person. And we don't like to give a valuation to a human being, but people do add value to our lives, right? And so I guess in the reverse of that, some people have been in my life that have taken away value. I have dated some people that I should have left them where they were. And it was a big chunk of time wasted out of my life. And I accomplished less because I was dealing with them. Not to blame them, it was my choice, but I'm saying that probably was not a high value choice for me.
Mhm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is, you know.
What I've had to learn over the years is that no matter what the experience is, we still gonna count it all joy.
Yes.
Every lesson that we've learned, every pitfall, it was good, but I should have stepped away from it. And I'm sure everybody understands it was good, but I should have
Yes.
stepped away from it. It's all a part of who we are, but it's when you finally make a decision that I'm gonna move on to something else and I want greater. And I think
Yes.
that's what now makes the game even greater. We're not talking about the cars, the bank account, the what can you do for me? It's how great is your heart in a time where I'm at in the space I'm in. And that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I agree. Like my my ex-husband, you know, he added value to my life in that we had a beautiful child, right? So that was valuable. Based upon what Kevin Samuel says is high value, he was super high value. I wanted a house. He made sure I got the house I wanted. He bought me a Range Rover. All of those things are what some people are looking for. But I was very unhappy. I was just not happy. I would come in my house after a while and I felt like there was this dark cloud of misery over my whole spirit. So it depends on what is valuable to you, but based upon what Kevin Samuels says is high value, he provided, he made wonderful money, obviously, but he detracted. Well, don't want to say that because I hate to, you know, give actual people know who I'm talking about, but I was miserable, right? And when I tried to leave,
you don't want to make it like he
no,
did
it was my choices. It was my choices. It was my choices.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
We can see you and hear you. But it's like the camera is too low. It's shooting you from under instead of straight on.
Yeah, I know, because I have a tablet kind of flip thing, and I wasn't planning to use this computer, but it seems like my phone does not want to play with me. So I guess, you know what, I'm gonna let you guys continue what you were saying. I'm gonna figure out how to use my tablet real quick, and then we're gonna bring the guest on as soon as I get this set up right.
Okay, darling.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I know, Miss B, you were saying when I was saying that you don't want to put it all on the other person. That's another thing that I've learned. I was listening to Xavier with one question, say what it was that Chat Daddy had asked what was important to her in a man, and she said, you know, all of the true qualities that I think are important. What I'll say is that comes with age. When I was younger, my brain wasn't there yet. I wanted you to be fine. Like that was the first thing I saw. Are you fine? And I'm not gonna pretend that I don't want to have you be visually pleasing now, but that was very important then. You know, I was like, oh, he fine, he got muscles. Oh, but now I know that is not what is ultimately important. I mean, I'm with somebody who can buy me a Range Rover when I'm unhappy and want to leave. Still wasn't happy. Still had to leave, right? Because that wasn't. But that came with age. That came with age.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I think maybe it comes with age for most of us. Listen, when you're young, you know, you're looking. We are naturally programmed to be looking for a mate, someone that we are attracted to, because all of the chemistry has to flow, because there needs to be some baby making going on when you're in your 20s. You know, that's what it's about. And most men who are in their 20s are not established enough, you know, for you to make a determination about their value when it comes to fortunes already accumulated. But what you're looking at is their potential to do it. So when I was in my 20s and looking for a mate, I looked for him where I was, which was in college. Somebody who it has the same mindset, who has the idea that they want to do something to better themselves so that they'd be able to provide for themselves and a family in the future, and those sort of things. And so that's what, you know, that's what you're looking for, a good mate. And then you go on from there and you build a life together. But then you get to be 40 and divorced, Now you're looking for, now your high value man has changed, but there is a set standard for high value. And with all of the criticism that he gets, Kevin Samuels has a video that says, what is a high value man? And he very clearly breaks it down, not based on feelings, not based on opinion, based on the definition of the word high, based on the definition of the word value, based on the definition of the word man, and then lets you see it from there. And then you go on. And one of the things that he said about a high value man is you should be able to, at a glance, know exactly what he is about, where his high value comes from. So when somebody says, this is Dr. John Smith, he's the head of cardiology at Gwinnett General Hospital or whatever, boom, right away, that he has a certain level of education and intelligence and experience, that he's making a certain amount of money, and that he does certain things, and that because of his position, here's another aspect that's important about talking about value, and that is, how is he looked at amongst his peers? Where does he rank? How do they value him? What is their opinion of him? And does he have a valuable network around him? Because you can be a man with a lot of money and driving that Rolls Royce, but your money could come from questionable places that doesn't define or identify who you are at first glance.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Niambi, I wanted to say to you, if I chuckle and laugh, it's not that I'm laughing at your situation. I've heard these stories a million times when it comes to women, when it comes to same-sex relationships, whatever the case may be. Just what you said is the standard of what everybody is saying. And then unfortunately, when it all falls apart, it's when people now need that bridge to help them get to that next step. So I appreciate you being so vulnerable. I think, all of us will probably be vulnerable before this is over, but great, so I didn't want you to think I was laughing at it.
I didn't.
I've heard that, look, in several languages. I've heard that story in letters, so I get that. So congratulations on knowing it was time for you to move on as well, too.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm back now, I think.
Yes. And in control, I see.
You know what? My computer's relatively new, so I guess you're just gonna have to bear with me, because I can't figure out which way would make it look like I'm looking into the computer. I'm not exactly sure where my computer eye is. However, we're gonna keep things rolling, because you know what we do. And I want to bring on some of the ladies that were single mothers, because they actually get the next big hit. See, I had this set up so I might go through my agenda while I was still on the screen, but since that doesn't want to work for me. So since they're not going to let me do what they told me they were going to let me do, I'm going to have to send you guys into the backstage for a minute, and I'm going to talk to my next few guests, and then I'm going to bring you guys back on, and then we're going to talk about it. We're going to make this thing happen. It's going to happen.
Make it do what it do.
It's beautiful.
You can't keep a good woman down. You know that, right? You can't keep a good woman down. So I'm going to take you guys from the stream right now. Chat Daddy, where'd you go? You still here? Because I don't even see you no more. And I'm going to bring on Miss Julia and Miss Camille. And I got one more person that is coming in. I don't know what is up with her. Can you ladies hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. I got one more person that's trying to get in here. Hopefully she'll figure it out before it gets too late. So my question for you ladies, because you're single moms, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so one of the things that they were talking about is that single mothers are not high value because they have a kid, a liability, a responsibility, and a high value man doesn't want to take that on. And also they question why a high value man would be interested in a single mother, because your baby daddy didn't marry you. So
many stigmas straight out the door. Like, that's such a blanket statement though.
And so I wanted to know, okay, so first of all, just kind of tune in to each other, because as you can see, I'm figuring out this StreamYard thing this time. So listen to each other so you don't overtalk each other. So what I want to know is, first of all, are you single, dating, or married? Are you single? Are you dating?
I am. Oh, that's funny that you asked that. I hope he's not watching. So we're exclusively dating / relationship. We're in a relationship. We're in a relationship.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm single.
You single? Okay,
I'm
Julia, you're
single.
single.
I'm interested in dating, but I haven't found anyone I'm interested in dating.
Okay. All right. So you haven't found anyone that you're interested in dating.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not attracting the men? So what I'm getting at is part of what they're saying about the single mother having a problem because she has a kid, is part of that true?
Yes and no. My hardest part with being a single mom and dating is that my standards are extremely high because I have a little girl and I don't want just anybody in her life. This is somebody that's going to be, in the future, a father figure for her, somebody that's going to be around her, all the time. I want a good man, not only for me, but for my daughter to be around, her. Um, so that does make it a little bit harder, but it's not that I can't do it. It's just I feel like my standards were high before I even had her.
You found that you said your standards were high before you had her. So,
Yes.
were you dating more before you were dating more before you had her?
So I got pregnant when I was 22. I'm 28 now. So I wouldn't really call it dating. I was being young. I don't know. 21, being 22. I was chilling. So I was interacting with guys, but not like I didn't take anybody like super serious because I was young. Like I knew I was supposed to be enjoying my life and not, I guess preparing for marriage or anything like that. I had the rest of my life, for that. So that was my thought process in that time. But I still didn't just let anybody in my space, in my company.
And Camille, so you're in a relationship. So do you feel like the narrative that they're putting out there with the stigma attached to single mothers, do you feel like that's fair? Do you feel like that's accurate? Was it difficult for you to find a guy?
It's not accurate at all. I would say the greatest difficulty I found with dating men was overcoming my own flaws. As a single mother, you have to. There's so many roles that you have to take on that sometimes that you don't understand when you need to be as feminine as you should be, because you have to take on dominating things. With me having boys, it was tremendously difficult for me to find a man that could handle me both being feminine and alpha at the same time. So the stigma's not fair, because a lot of times as single mothers, we didn't choose to be single mothers. Some of us did have relationships before we became that way. And for you to put that much weight on the people that give life, that's a lot.
I agree. And one of the things I could relate to is that I didn't have any problem dating because I had my first child at 18. Mm-hmm. So I was a single mother for a long time. And in my early 20s, I got married at 27. And I didn't experience all of this stuff that they're saying, but do you have friends who have kids? Because I have seen some women on Facebook and they have talked about the fact that they do feel affected by what the guy is saying, that social media personality.
Yeah.
They feel like it because men now are getting this idea in their head that a single mother is not a high quality woman. What do you guys think about that stigma that's being created?
It's ridiculous.
And then I'm going to bring in some other people too.
I feel like it's just giving the masses a trained way of thinking. So you have to take everything that you're watching and the things that you hear with a grain of salt. If it applies, then make it applicable. But if it doesn't, then keep it rolling. For a lot of the men that listen to Kevin Samuels, now there are some things that he does say that I do agree with, because as women, we don't take responsibility for a lot of it. Again, with me having boys, unfortunately, we are our son's first heartbreak, whether we want to be responsible for that or not. That we have to take accountability for some of those things. Now, since I do agree with a couple of things, that doesn't mean that I agree with that statement itself, because then it creates another hurdle for us to jump over. Each time it's always something for us to uphold. We have to look a certain way. We have to act a certain way. And now we have to take this title that is given to us by a man who doesn't even have to walk our shoes.
Right. I agree. So I have one more question for you guys. I'm bringing on the second group. I want to know, do you think that single mothers are frowned on while single fathers are praised?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why do you think
Absolutely. I think maybe single fathers are less, like, they're not as common. So when you do see one, it's almost like a unicorn. So all of a sudden it's something to praise, but it's like we do that every single day. Like, and I don't think that single mothers are, to go back on what you said earlier, I don't think that single mothers are not valuable, because if I was to, play into the whatever Kevin Samuel said, I feel like I was less valuable before I had my daughter than I was now. Like, now I have a child, so I have to make sure I got money. I have to make sure we both on a consistent schedule. Like, I have to make sure we eating healthy. Like, there are things that I learned that I didn't know before and wasn't even interested in before, until I had this little human that I'm responsible for, that I have to make sure that she's straight. So my value now is definitely way higher than it was before, when I was just chilling, partying, doing whatever, because I only had me to think about. So I don't think that's true at all.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for participating with me. You can hold on and watch the rest of the show this way, or you can go and watch the show from from my page or whatever, because I'm having some issues getting everybody on here. This is so crazy to me. So I'm about to bring on, let me see, I think I'm about to bring on, is that come on now. Let me bring my co-host back on. Let me get my co-host back on here. Let's see, there's my Ambi. There you go. Hey, lady. Oh, no, I clicked Tanisha. I think I actually want to bring you on too, but just hold on one second. I'm going to get my co-host back on here so we can chat for just a second. You guys chat, you the only one on so far. Okay, there you go, Diane. And let me get. So what'd you guys think about that so far? I'm making it happen over here. We still doing this thing.
Good. I had some thoughts about the single mother thing, because I've been considered a single mother for a while. But I will say that the gentleman, it's his way of speaking where he is purposely, I feel, attempting to degrade people and lower their self-esteem. Not very solution oriented and saying, okay, this is what is valuable. This is how you get there, right? So even when he talks about single mothers, he's very specific in saying that he is really talking mostly about women who had children out of wedlock. He's like, okay, so if you had a baby and you didn't have a husband, he's like, do you have kids? Were you ever married? Oh, he didn't marry you. You have less value. So he even draws a line between those things. I feel like it's to purposely shame someone. And I think a lot of what he's saying, there are, like I said, value is determined by the market. I came from a Creole family, right? And we were taught, and I saw Okara say something in the comments, and he and I used to have this conversation all the time. We were taught that you had to keep yourself looking a certain way. You had to be smart. You know, you had to be a go-getter, have multiple ways of making money. You had to give massages, be the best cook, and be very pleasant to your man. Now, that's how I was taught. And that really has stuck with me throughout my life, just in terms of, I feel like, you know, I want to stay looking the way, you know, as best as I possibly can, because that's what he signed up for. But I feel that men and women are in a boxing match. You don't get to say sometimes on social media, speak things where you don't sound hard. I would have conversations with Okara where women would be on there saying, you, a man shouldn't expect you to cook because blah, blah, blah. And I would say, but I want to cook for my man. It makes me happy. So am I selling out to women now? You know, is somebody upset because I said that? But I also don't feel like you should do it. I feel like you should do it if it makes you happy. I feel like if it doesn't make you happy, you shouldn't do it. But I don't think you should be in a battle with the other sex that says, even if, just because I know this makes you happy, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to be just adverse, and I can't. We're in a boxing match for no reason. So I just feel like a lot of the things he's saying are to degrade instead of uplift. I'm not saying that there's not truth. Like I said, my Creole upbringing, they told us this is what's valuable and this is what you must be. I was raised that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're fighting each other too much. I don't think it's meant to be helpful. And I don't think that we mean to help each other on social media. I think he's just an outpouring or a manifestation of what we've been doing. We've been fighting like this on social media, men and women, now for years, you know, putting the other one down or what have you. So I think he's just a manifestation of what we've been doing.
Well, just recently, this past week, he did a one-on-one interview with another extremely popular gossip blogger named Tasha K. She has a show on YouTube called Unwind with Tasha K. And it was a lot more intimate than his show. And so you get to hear his point of view, and not to be a Kevin Samuels, you know, protector or advocate or any of those kind of things. I just like to have a balance of the point of view. And he mentioned in his interview with her that of all of the races and cultures and nationalities, Black men and women have been systematically pitted against one another. He said, you don't see that. You don't see that in other cultures. You know, why is it that we just cannot get along, and not get along in a, you know, in enough, you know, with enough power to be positive? You know, we've been pitted against one another, and it's very calculated, and it's very systematic, and it runs really, really deep. And so what we witness.
And so are you saying that he doesn't?
Wait, you breaking up.
Are you saying that he doesn't feel like he's part of the problem of pitting us against each other?
Oh, no, absolutely not. He's just telling you that this is how it is, that, you know, we've already been pitted against one another. And I don't think he pits anybody one against the other. You know, if you don't like his
tone,
do you hear
what a lot of these men? Do you hear what a lot of the young men are saying? The ones that really follow him. There is such a what is that word I'm looking for? Not vengeance, but they're venom. There's such a venom that is given to women from these men. And like one lady was saying this morning, you know, the men are talking about the women are just out for the money. A lot of the men that are saying that stuff actually don't really, you know, they're six-figure people anyway. They're probably making 40.
Yeah, I think Xavier. There you go. Okay,
it's ridiculous. So I don't know how he doesn't feel like he's pitting men against women, because it's like a whole movement out here.
I'm thinking that he's thinking it's not new. that women and especially in the Black community being pitted against one another is not new. So it has a new viral name and face called high value man versus high value woman. But those standards that make it such have been there for a very long time. And just as you know, we were saying earlier about he seems to make the distinction between a woman who is a single parent as a result of a out of wedlock childbirth, as opposed to a woman who may be divorced or widowed, and that's not new. Listen, I'm 65. My mother was born in 1907, so she would be a million years old by now if she was alive. But in the era where I grew up, we were told, don't have a child out of wedlock. No man wants an already made family. You'd shame your family. You're a disgrace. You can't go to church. You're this. All of those kind of things. And that was the school of thought. And people who got pregnant, I was up north, so if you got pregnant, you were sent down south with your grandma. Okay, if you were down south, they sent you up north with your cousin and your auntie in there. All right, but you were not pregnant in public. You did not show. There was no showing, and no being pregnant and showing off, and no having no reveal party and all of that kind of stuff. That shit was not happening. Okay, and so that was the value, that was the standard, that was the stigma, all of that stuff. And so him saying that's not new. That's old school. What it has is a new name. But what I really don't like about what comes out of his conversation in that area is men now, walking up to you, or well, not up to me, but up to somebody like my daughter's age and saying, well, what do you bring to the table? Mother, sir, sir, you don't worry about this table over here.
Okay.
Right.
You just worry about you having a table that you can bring somebody to.
Right.
That's what you do.
Right.
And so, that's the annoying part. But he never, his platform doesn't say, I'm here to help you heal and I'm here to help you grow and all of that kind of stuff. He is there to do one thing, to put the spotlight on you and to point out what it is that's happening and where you fall in with that. And you can get with it or you can get gone. And I don't know why people subject themselves to his criticism.
Oh my gosh!
Why?
Xavier,
Okay.
if I could, I want to compliment you real quick on having such wonderful ladies of integrity on this show. When you invited me to do this, I wasn't necessarily sure who I was sharing the platform with. These ladies are of integrity. And ladies, I hate to tell you guys this, everybody on here is from integrity. Them days are long gone, and social media is the death of our integrity, our loving relationships, all of that, because people can glimpse into your life in one click. But you ladies are definitely, you were raised in integrity, and you would hope to receive that in your relationships in this day and age. And those days are long gone. You now need to learn how to shake your ass on TikTok to even just make yourself different from any other person.
You end up not being different at all.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for that, Chat Daddy.
But I will have some really good people as my co-hosts, because y'all my peoples right there. These is my peoples. So I'm gonna bring on some more people. I'm gonna put you guys in backstage for a minute. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that.
Anyway.
Uh-oh. Let me see here. Okay, I got y'all back there. So now I'm going to bring on the next round of single mothers. Let's see. I believe. All righty.
I had a better background, but now I'm feeding your grandson. He's finna pop in.
Yeah, I see that you have a single you're a single mother over there. And Tanisha, you're a single mother, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're a single mother over,
Move.
you're between 25 and 35, or you over 35?
I'm over 35.
Okay. All right. There we go. So the same questions for you guys. You know, there's a stigma that's attached to being a single mother now. And I just wanted to know how it affect you. So are you in a relationship or dating?
Who, me or her?
Either of you can answer. Both of you will need to, whoever goes first.
Well, I'm in a relationship.
Okay. Tanisha,
No, not in a relationship.
are you dating?
Mm-hmm.
Dating. Okay. So in as a person who is dating as a single mother, do you feel like being a single mother adds anything to trying to find any difficulty to trying to find a mate? Is that a hindrance that you're a single mother?
I Oh, go ahead. You can go ahead. Oh no, you can go ahead because I'm not really looking for a mate, I guess, since I'm still dealing with my child's father. So that question doesn't pertain to me. So I would say I don't see it as a hindrance. I definitely agree with what the other hosts were saying about, like in Facebook groups, or you hear this talk of the the decreased value, etc. I think as someone that's a mother in dating, as far as what I'm looking for, he's gonna have to be a father, or have fatherly traits. So I don't see it. I don't see it as a deficit, but definitely it influences kind of who I am attracted to.
Okay. And so one of the things with being a single mother, they say there's an indicator because the baby's father didn't marry you. And I know my daughter is a single mother, so that's her up there. I know that she had some definite thoughts on, the implication that you're not up to par because the father didn't marry. So what would you like to share that thought?
Yeah, we've had that conversation a couple times on a couple different occasions. And to be honest, I just want to say the man who is saying all of these things, you the only person that is really talking about other people's insecurities are very insecure with himself. So the fact that he is pointing out the decreased value in women is because he sees the decreased value in himself, because you only see who you are. Like, people are a reflection of you. So, and with that whole getting married, being a single mother, I've witnessed many people have kids, and they say the second baby daddy is the best baby daddy, so they tend to marry the next one. So I don't think it hinders or like lowers the value in women at all. I think it adds value because children make you mature and grow up. It helps you become more stable, and like other people say, what you bring to the table. When you have a child, you have the table, and you have everything on the table because you have a child. So with that being said, what are you going to bring to my table? So it's just a whole lot. Plus, there's the whole, like, with me and my child's father, we've been dealing with each other for 5 years, and our child is 1 year old. So it wasn't like I got pregnant soon and then we just kept up with it, or he disappeared or whatever. But we've talked about marriage on a couple occasions. But with that being said, do I want to marry my child's father? Probably not. We'll probably, if I'm going to be with him, we'll probably have a common day marriage. But there's things about him that I don't like, and he has too many kids. So, with that being said, that my income is not going to be considered. So, there's a lot of points to getting married, and it's not about a woman marrying who she can, because everybody marries who they want. People turn down marriages all the time. I really hate the fact that somebody has said that men marry who they want and women marry who they can.
I heard that.
At all, honey. Not at all. Women marry who they want, men marry who they can. because at the end of the day, it's up to the women to give you that chance to even pursue that relationship. So if we don't see a marriage, we don't see potential of marriage in you from the beginning, we're not going to deal with you. So you don't have that access to marry us. So I don't know. I don't really like the guy who talks, and I don't even know who he is. I don't like the things that he says. It's just he shows his own insecurities when he speaks. He doesn't show the king in him or the man in him. He shows the scared little boy, because look at the things that he's saying.
Yeah, righty then. Little following out there, they're calling you little X, so you got a little following out there. They feeling what you're saying. All right, ladies. Well, I definitely appreciate your opinion. I'm gonna bring a couple of my. I think I can add. I want to add Nyambi to this right here. What was your thoughts on what they just said? And they're both still here, so you can ask them questions as well.
Let me just say, I could tell your daughter is your daughter, and they're both very eloquent speakers. But I love that little mama right there, because she said a whole word. She gave a whole sermon and a whole word. Because one of the things that I've noticed is that, first of all, most of the men who are touting what he's saying are not high value. They are people that I believe, and not to be judgmental, that could never get the woman that they wanted in the first place. Exactly. And so now this is an opportunity for them to look at those women and say, are you going to go out with me? Well, not interested. Well, that's okay, because you're 36 and you got a baby. Don't nobody want you now. No, boo-boo, you want me. And you're mad because you can't have me. So this is your way to feel better about yourself. My mom used to tell me when I was growing up, there are two types of giants in the world. One who's a giant because he stands on his own feet, and one he has to stand on somebody else's shoulders. Right. These are people who have to make other people feel badly about themselves. And I'm going to say, the big thing that they're always leaving out of this conversation is love and just someone. I always told my students, because I'm a teacher also, because they would be worried about how they looked, worried about measuring up. I said, if Beyonce came, and she is beautiful and wonderful and everything, and they said, you can have Beyonce if we take away your mama, what are you going to say? You're going to say, oh no, because you are attached to that person, that spirit. Men are attached to you as a person and your spirit. Like I said, I'm in my 40s. I'm divorced. I have had my child, me and her for a long time, right? I have never had any problems. And I've never had any problems attracting what he considers high value men. I have dated two news anchors, 6 figures. I said, I've had Range Rovers bought for me because I'm in my 40s. I have no problem. So it's a false narrative being taught anyway. It's not even true, because there's that intangible. Okay, you don't tick this box and this box and this box, but guess what? He saw you, he vibed with you, he loves you. Mm-hmm. That takes away all of it. There's a woman out there with 5 kids, and that man with 6 figures saw her and was like, she makes me feel good about me. I love her energy.
Yes, I have a girlfriend, she's got 4 kids, and she always has a 6-figure, and she's actually had a 7-figure man. She never has a problem getting good guys, and she's got kids.
Yes.
Yes. And they've asked to marry her. They weren't just having sex with her. They wanted to marry her. And she said no. She said, no, that's not part of my plan right now.
I love that you said that part, because I think that's important too. You said they're not just having sex with her, they wanted to marry her, because just like your daughter said, these are the gentleman saying that is a scared little boy, and he is putting out his insecurities. You get these stories twisted, these narratives twisted. I was saying earlier, even when you talk about older women who date younger men, I have a relative who dates significantly younger men. Her husband was younger, her current boyfriend is younger, and guess what? They want to say women are cougars. I don't like younger men personally, but my point is they take care of her. She's not being a sugar mama, buying her houses, buying her Audis. So what happens is you have men and women fighting against each other, and some men want to make a woman feel a certain type of way, so they want to devalue her or change the narrative. But we're out here in the world and we see that it's not true. Mm-hmm. It's not true. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to bring on I'm gonna bring on. I'm not exactly sure. I believe I'm see my agenda that I had.
Yes. You
Oh,
just
it
got
just
up.
came back up. It just came.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. It just came back up. So I was free. I was winging it for real because I didn't even have nobody's
You're a
name and
professional.
who they were no more. I'm just
We
like,
didn't
what
even
is
know.
right? I just told you all my business now. So okay, we got there. Okay. I'm gonna bring Tasia on. She would be the last one out of this section of single mothers here. Let me add her to the stream. I'm gonna take you off for now. Let me see. Where did you go? Tanisha, I'm gonna take you off for now. And I'm gonna
Oh,
bring hey, so have you
okay.
heard the questions I've been asking the single mother? So how has being a single mother affected you dating?
Being a single mother, and trying to date in this day and time is very hectic. It's very hard. So now it's to the point where I'm kind of discouraged from dating. And sometimes I kind of take a break and I'd be like, okay, I'm a date. And then I'm gonna go back into my little cocoon and then I'm gonna come back out and I'm be like, I'm a date. It's very discouraging because I think a lot of times men are what I've experienced is men are very I'm so sorry. My 5-year-old. Go sit down. That this wasn't happening until I get on here. Zachary, go in the room and be quiet, please. Okay. We're gonna try this again. This is why I'm not dating. Okay, no. But honestly, I think a lot of times men they come across me and they find me attractive and they're intimidated. They a lot of times I hear the thing of, oh, you have men just chasing you, don't you? You just have so many men, and that's not the case. Honestly, I shut down so many guys on a regular basis, and it's like to the point that
He's like, I'm the reason you talking, mama, because I made you a mother. Let me have my time.
and it's so you see, I'm trying so hard not to get this belt. But no, but a lot of times men they look at me and they assume that I'm just this woman that's out here or I have multiple men running after me, and that's not the case. So it's very hard trying to date, especially after having children and being a divorced mom.
Okay. So you were married to your kid's father?
Correct.
Okay. So at least they can't put that one against you because they know they give you a knock if
Right.
you didn't marry
Right.
the baby's daddy. So do you feel that single mothers get a bad rap versus single fathers get praised?
Absolutely.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know why, but a lot of times like I've experienced with my ex-husband, he's remarried now and everything like that, and a lot of times that's kind of like when you had that conversation with men, they kind of like to kind of throw it in your face like, well, why you not remarried, what's wrong with you? And then it's like, okay, it's just my preference. I have a choice to be remarried. If I wanted to be remarried by now, I could have been a couple of times. Okay. So it's nothing wrong with me. And I don't have a problem with being single at this time because I have not come across the right guy.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tanisha. Do you have anything you want to add? Because you've been.
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, thank you so much because I noticed that you said you have a son.
Yes.
Yes, he's ready to have a conversation with you, girl.
Yes, he is. And I'm gonna get off of here so I can get him together.
He's got a lot to talk about right now. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. I'm gonna bring on another one of my hosts right now so we can chat about what we think about that. So, Miss B, what are you thinking so far?
Hey, I'm loving the discussion and the various points of view. and that people get a chance to express themselves without feeling like they're being interrogated, you know. And
Okay.
yeah, you know, so I think it's good. I'm enjoying the show.
Okay, great. All right, we're gonna get a mother that has an adult child now, and I want to know what that is like. So Miss Juanita is a singer too. I just have to say that because she is a wonderful singer. And if you are in Chicago and you ever get a chance to go check her out, definitely check her out. So
Thank you for the plug.
That said, I love to hear her sing. I was in a play with her, and she broke out in that. What was that song? And I am tell you know, and everybody can't sing that song, but she sang that song. So
All
definitely check
right.
her out. So, what was it like for you being a singer? Because now your kid's an adult, right?
Exactly.
So, what was that like when you were a single mother with a young kid?
Well, dating when my son was younger, it was a bit of a struggle, just kind of juggling and also just really trying to put that time in. And actually, when he was young, that's when I really got into my singing. So I had a really close friend, and people thought I was going to marry him, but he really helped me raise my son. So he would babysit when I was going out gigging or doing open mics. So he was a great guy, but unfortunately, it just wasn't there for us. But I had a really interesting thing where I was attempting to date one of my high school flings, and my son is extremely intelligent. And on our first date, getting reconnected, he knew I had a son. So I asked him, I said, well, can we, swing by and pick up my son on the way back? He said, sure. And my son was very outspoken and intelligent. He's really an old soul. And so he told the guy, oh, is this your new boyfriend? He said, well, I don't know. Where's he going to sleep? I was outdone. I didn't have a comeback. So needless to say, that was our last date. So
Wow.
In that sense, children can have a way of stopping things, but I believe that it just wasn't meant anyway. But that definitely stopped things.
So
your answer should have been, he's going to sleep at his house. He's going home to his house to sleep.
Exactly. And the fact that I didn't have a comeback because I was so shocked, that was why. And my friend told me later on, he said that was why he did not continue or pursue. He felt that I should have had a really good comeback with that. I was really outdone. I was outdone.
So let me ask you this. So now that you have an adult child, so you're still a single parent, right?
Right.
Okay, and now you have an adult child. So is it different now? Does that cause a problem? Because boys are protected?
Not at all. It's definitely different now because my son is home with me, but we have the type of relationship where he's not going to interfere in my relationship. So that's really that's not an issue. We have a pretty good relationship.
All right. Well, thank you so much for participating and bearing with me, because I'm new to this StreamYard, and they didn't do quite everything they told me they was going to do. So I just been working at it. I am going to bring on another mother. We're going to get another mother in here. Hey, Denise.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm good. And after Denise, we're going to bring on the men. Okay. So if y'all waiting to hear some men's comments, they are coming up next. Okay. And Denise, I know you have some things to say, because you have some things to say when you have to type it out. So I know you got some things to say now.
You know that.
Tell me about it. So you are a single mother with adult kids, right?
I was I'm married now, but
Okay.
I was a single mother, and I was a single mother with adult children, and
Okay.
it wasn't difficult to date. It was difficult to find someone that that I wanted, that met a certain standard, that could be everything that I needed in a man. Some women need different things. So at this age, I wasn't looking for a Rolls Royce or a house, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But at this age, I was looking for some integrity. I was looking for honesty, commitment, and those types of things. We were talking about high value men, but we're talking about them in terms of money. But high value can also be high esteem, valuable in terms of who you are as a person, your characteristics, your personality, your attitude. Because a lot of these guys seem to be entitled. They think that because they do earn a certain amount of money, that every woman is going to gravitate towards them, and they get upset when certain women don't come towards them because they think that, oh, I got this and that, every woman wants me, but that's not true. Because some women are not going to deal with your shenanigans. And I am on the Kevin Samuels fan page, and I see these guys, and a lot of them are insecure. A lot of them they're broken. They're toxic.
Yes.
They haven't gotten the help that they need. And so they do say really mean things about women, but women have to overlook them because they're not ready to be in a relationship with a woman. They have a lot of growing up to do. A lot of times they came from parents or mothers or whomever that made them feel like they're special. But see, the difference is that a woman is not going to make him feel like his mama does. Okay, a woman is not going to overlook his flaws. She's going to call him out, and she's going to make him stand up to her, or she's going to leave him in the dust somewhere. And a lot of these men aren't ready for women to just be honest and open with them. They want somebody to sugarcoat stuff for them like their mama did. Women not doing that. They're not going to do that today, period.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No one, okay? No one has time for that. And when you get older, when you get mature and have a little bit more wisdom, you're not going to just take anything from a man or just say, well, I need to have a man or I want a man and all these types of things. Brother, you got to come with it. And it doesn't matter if I'm older, if I have adult children, if I'm 500 pounds, 1,200 pounds. If you want to be with me, you're going to be with me. I'm not going to be fit, cooperative, and all this kind of stuff unless I want to be. But because
I love what you said about a mother. Because a mother loves you unconditionally. And I think it's a fallacy to say that romantic love is unconditional. It is not. There are things that you can do that will make me fall out of love for you. It's romantic to say it is, but it's a lie. Your mother will love you no matter what. Doesn't mean she'll talk to you no matter what, but she will love you till the day she dies. But that is your mother. Romantic love is not unconditional. I can stop loving you, given reason.
Yeah.
So Denise, let me ask you this. Why do you think that single fathers get praised and single mothers really get devalued? I mean, that's what it is.
Well, single fathers get praised because other men and women praise them. That's why they get praised. Women are always seen in a negative light. She's a gold digger. She's a chicken head. She's a this or that. Women don't praise each other, and neither do men. So that's why all this praise goes towards the men. Right.
But do you think they also get praise because it's an indication of sexual prowess? Their ability to get a woman and then get her pregnant, and there's something, I guess, between men to be said for being able to do that. But on the other hand, we do label men as deadbeat dads. They're not not held accountable. They don't get scot-free. They are described as dogs, whoremongers, cheaters, and deadbeats all the time. They take a whipping too.
Especially if they have a certain amount. But we live in a patriarchy.
When they have
the difference between men becoming a deadbeat or whatever, they still don't have accountability nor responsibility. The women still end up having the children, raising the children, being single mothers, and all these different things. So no matter what we say about these guys, we are the ones that still end up having the children and having to raise them and have to deal with all the flack that comes from us being single mothers. No, we did not get these children by ourselves. However, we as women know that some of these men are not even worthy of our time, and yet we lay down with them and have their babies and then end up being the single mother. Now, men need to be accountable and responsible, but so do women too. But women get upset when you say, look, you know, this guy, he ain't crap. He wasn't crap when you met him. He
Right.
ain't crap while you dating him. He ain't gonna be crap when you have his kid, right?
Right.
But we still fall in love with them and have their babies, whether we're married to them or not married to them. They still ain't crap, right? But although they get talked about, we still end up carrying the burden of being that mother. We still have to deal with the boy children and the girl children.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the boy children, they don't have the tools necessary to be an essential man in our society, because a lot of times the women drop the ball because they don't feel like they can raise him to be a man.
Because
they
you can.
Do you think that is
Because you
also
can.
because they get to be free? They get to still have that exciting, carefree lifestyle. But like you said, the children are with the women. So, like my ex-husband, if he is dating, he doesn't have to say, "Oh, I can't go out with you because right now," or "You can't sleep over right now because my daughter's here." No, the daughter lives with me. No, you can go out and go wherever you want because the daughter lives with me. So do you think that might have anything to do with it as well?
Well, the thing about it is that they don't have a full sense of fatherhood. We only base it on monetary value. But children need both parents who are mentally competent, emotionally competent, physically there, and spiritually there. And what happens is that, okay, just send me a check every month or just give me something. And I'm not saying that's your case at all. I'm just saying that a lot of times we don't enforce, look, our kids need you to be here completely, not just for a check every month or every week or whatever you want to give it. So there's no real accountability and responsibility for these men. They can walk away. They can get away. They can go out and they can do everything else. But if you had those kids there every weekend for him to watch them, he wouldn't have that much freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this, something about what Miss B said. Miss B just said something, and it kind of goes with what you're saying too, talking about these men weren't this when we met them, blah, 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 right? So just my own situation. I got together with my husband when we were 23, right? So we were young. Now, in hindsight, he had 3 other children. And my stepson's mom wrote me a letter saying the best he ever was when you all were together. And now that you're not together, he doesn't see his kids. I was in my 20s. I didn't realize. I thought he just didn't know any better. I'm like, bring the kids, because I love kids. I'm a teacher. I love everybody's kids, especially my own step babies. They're still my babies, even though they're 19 now. But I did not put together in my head, okay, he has 3 kids, and I have to tell him to see them. I have to say, bring the babies to the house.
Wow.
He was still that man. So
it should have been a red flag that
it should have been.
He might not be a good father.
It should have been.
Right.
In hindsight.
But when you're
okay,
23
let me just,
and you're young and the hormones are
he had muscles. He had muscles.
And all of the chemistry is flowing. All of the pheromones are in high season. You don't think about that part, that this person already is not responsible enough to protect themselves and keep from having children, and then they don't take care of the children that they have. But at 23, that's hard to see, girl.
It is.
Okay, I'm gonna hop in here. Thank you, Denise. I knew that you would stir up some conversation, and we may very well have a after the show conversation. But I want to get these men on here before it gets too late. I had one dad that wrote in on the comments, and he said us single dads get bashed and disregarded as well. So I don't know about that, but I don't know if I should bring all the men on at one time, or if I should, bring them on with one of the co-hosts in the room. I'm gonna bring them on with one of the co-hosts. I'm gonna bring this Verdi dude in here, because he often he's got this little thing that Verdi says, because he just, he's the relationship. Is he a relationship expert? I don't know what to call him, but anyway, he would classify as, I guess, a high value man. So we're gonna see what he has to say. So what do you think about this high value man, Verdi? What is a high value man, first of all, and are you one?
The answer to your first question, what I think about this high value man, I think Kevin Samuels is making a lot of money off of this. Okay,
right.
That's what I first think about that. As far as, am I a high value man? I guess if that means a good man, yes, I am that. That's his terminology. That's not necessarily mine. But as far as for the theme of the show, I would have to say yes. Okay, and what classifies me that is because of my life experiences that I've been through and what I've learned from, and now what put me in a place of my mindset and what I know I can bring to any relationship that I'm involved in.
Okay. So with all of your experiences and stuff, we started off with taking note that he said that women lose their value after 25. And even though I didn't actually have the 25-year-olds on here, I was wondering, so as a man that's high value, are you looking for a woman that is maximum age of 25? Are you looking for, the 21 to 25? Do women truly lose their value, in your opinion, after 25?
A woman loses her value when she lacks the ability to recognize a high value man. It's not an age thing. I wouldn't say anything about 25, or I wouldn't say anything about as far as the age, as far as that goes. And as far as me, my preference as far as the age, I don't necessarily have a thing whereas, okay, she's a certain age. That's not my criteria. I don't look at it that way. That's all his ideas, as far as that. I don't believe a woman loses a value. It's not at an age. It's maybe at a certain mindset. But then again, that's in my world. It's the value in my world. If she doesn't bring value to my world, then she's not a high value woman, in my opinion.
Okay. So do you have kids?
Yes, I have one daughter. She's 24.
Okay, and so she's at that high value age. Would you do you tell her or suggest that she date older men that are high value, or what do you tell your daughter about men?
I just tell my daughter that right now we don't even have a discussion about men right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. She had a discussion with me, and this discussion went like this. A lot of people may ask me, why am I not a grandfather? Why am I not a granddad? I don't have one daughter. And my daughter's told me point blank that I am too young to be a granddaddy because she's not having nothing until she's 30. So that for me personally, that closed that conversation about the man. I like the fact, I told her the other day that I'm very proud of her that she did not get pregnant at a young age, because when you get pregnant at a young age, that changes your decisions in life, especially for a young woman. So I took the time the other day to praise her and let her know that I'm very proud of the fact that she went on with what she wanted to do and that she did not become pregnant at a young age. As far as her dating, my belief is this. I can't protect her from anything. I only can be there when it's necessary for me to be there for her. Regardless of what I tell her, I hope that I've set a good example for her, and then she goes off my example. And that's all I can do. I cannot necessarily be with her around the clock and say, do this and do that, because we all know from experience, the more you tell your child not to do something, sometimes that's what they're going to do. So
that's true.
I don't get involved like that. I'm there when she needs me, and I just try to set a good example. That's what I do.
Okay, so Steve, I brought you on here.
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good. So, as we're talking about high value, can you tell me what your idea of a high value woman is? And does her value decrease after 25, first of all?
Well, firstly, the one thing that I think has been kind of misconstrued is, it seems to me, now I could be wrong, but it's been my impression that Mr. Samuels has specifically said to a specific segment of men that women lose value after 25. Now, I still think that 25 thing is a little bit too young. I think it would be a little bit. I think he's on the right track. I think his range would be a lot more, because 0 to 32 or so, I think. But I understand what he's saying. I really don't think he's all of his, when he downgrades when he talks about women, I think he's referring to as how they would refer to single women dating wealthy men. Now, as I also heard the other young lady, Nambi, she dated a couple 6-figure men, one I think a 7-figure man, and she is very attractive. So I think being attractive, being physically attractive is real life currency for a man. So that, you know, that there's another thing where I disagree with Samuels a little bit. I think as you get older, your attractiveness can overcome certain things that would normally be obstacles. But the other thing is, I just wanted to add, is I am a single father as well, with a 29-year-old son who was raised, I was raised by a single mother. So I kind of see all the angles. My mother really never chose to date. After I got about 10 years old, she chose not to really date, at least to my knowledge.
Okay. Do you think she chose not to date, or just that the men that she was attracting because she had you?
I honestly think she just simply, it's like it felt pointless. I mean, she was like, why? I mean, she just changed. There was never a desire. I mean, it is weird. It's always been weird to me, but she just never had that desire to be with a guy.
Okay. All right. So you guys have been on for a minute now, just listening to the conversation. And what would you like to add to this conversation? Wait, first I want to ask you, Steve. I forgot to ask you this question. Do you consider yourself a high value man, and why?
And I think where we're getting a lot of problems with these conversations is definitions.
Mm-hmm.
To me, yes. And I think to a lot of people, yes. But to somebody looking for certain things, like if you're looking for a certain income level, if you're looking for certain prestige level, then no. But I think I'm as loyal and I'm as respectful, and I think I'm as helpful. Like, I do a lot of things that people say, why in the world are you doing this for free? And no, I need money, but say, like, I do a lot of stuff like that. So I would think so, yes. But I understand why some people will say no.
Okay.
One of the things Kevin says is part of being a high value man is how you not give back to the community, but what value you bring to others, right?
Yes.
So, you know, it's the definitions, what pieces you look like, right. It's the market, who you know, different things are valuable to different people depending on what they like or want.
So I want to ask you all, and this is kind of, I guess, my final question. I'm going to actually bring Denise back on here as well, since she's like the only one in the studio that's not on. So I want to ask you all this question, and we could kind of, I guess you could kind of see where everybody is sitting on the screen. So let's just go, you know, in order as the way that everyone's sitting on the screen. So in your opinion, what is the difference? Miss B, you're going to be the first one. What's the difference in your opinion between a high quality person versus a high value person?
I don't know that there is a difference. Again, you know, it's semantics. But you know, for me, a high quality person, has some of the same characteristics that I would put on a high value person. You know, is there honesty? Is there integrity? Is there trustworthiness? Is there loyalty there? How are you seen by others? And then, but when you do the, I think the one thing that separates quality from value is the money factor that we put on it. So every time we think about a so-called high value man, the first thing is his income level. And then after that come the other things. You know, how credible he is, how valuable he is to his community, what his network looks like, not just his net worth, but his network look like. Can he be of value to you in any way other than just having money? And so for me, the value would have money on it, whereas quality has all of the other characteristics that are important to me.
Okay, Niambi.
Okay, so I think it's interesting because just like Miss B said, I think that the quality piece, when he's talking about the men, has a huge correlation to monetary value. When he has given his definition of what a high value woman is, it has nothing to do with money. It just has to do with the benefit that the man feels that she brings to the table for him, right? It's completely decided by him. So if we're talking about high value men, I think that for me, that would be someone who, like I said, I've been in relationships where there was money there, but I was miserable. So I think that also, though, I am an adult and we all have responsibilities, right? So I do want someone who is a go-getter. I'm not going to take that off the table, but I want you to be loving. I want you to be honest. I want you to be kind. I want you to be just a good person, right? Yeah. I want you to be faithful. I don't think you can have high value without those things. So high quality, I'm gonna agree with you. High quality is probably all of those great characteristics without attaching the need for a six-figure income with it. And what I will say is, I don't think that I need someone to have a six-figure income. I think that I need for you to be able to be an adult and take care of your responsibilities. Yes. Now, you don't need a six-figure income to do that. Now, it's nice and it's real, you know, it's really nice, but that is not a prerequisite for me dating you. But what is a prerequisite is you have to have some go-getiveness to yourself, and you have to make a good income so that you can take care of yourself and do nice things.
Yeah, you got to afford me.
Yeah, that's going to be it. And I think if we pretend that that's not true, then, you know.
We would be lying to ourselves, because really having a woman is like it's like having a luxury car. You have to be able to afford to entertain this woman. I think as a woman, I'm expecting a man to do that. Not that I would not reciprocate. I love reciprocation. Yes. But he has to be able to at least do that first, be able to take care of himself, and then have enough money to entertain me. And it doesn't mean that, you know, we have to fly everywhere first class and all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean a whole lot of money, but you do have to have some means if we were to be honest.
And I want to add this. I just want to say in the inverse also is the importance that brings. If I am with someone who was able to do all those things and he lost his job, I'm not leaving him because he lost his job, because that's not my number one priority. No. Also, I have things that I want to do for him too. If he loses his job and I can take care, I'm going to take care until he gets on his feet. But I also want to make him happy. So when we talk about what women say you're not supposed to have to do for a man, guess what? I like to cook for him. I like to cook for my family. I like to cook for my daughter. It's one of my ways of showing love. I like to give you a massage and say, you know, and just make you happy, right? I think that I should continue to look my best for you, because that's what you say. I think those things are important too. Yes. And I think we want to say what's on the reverse, we want to say bad, negative things about those things that some people give value to. But, on the other side, we can want those things, but we have to bring something to the table too, I think.
And you know what? We would be remiss if we didn't say that to not accept those kind of things from a man without putting so much emphasis on money, then you miss out on a lot of good people. We have to give credit where it's due to a man that has some vision and that is working and doing the best that he can. He's doing his best to be the greatest, grandest vision of himself that he can be. And just because that doesn't mean, just because he doesn't have a six-figure income or above as a result of it, doesn't mean that he, can't be the highest of high value man to you. We can't just throw these men away because they don't have some outrageous income. There are good men that you could be so happy with, who are not six-figure income earners. My father was not a six-figure income earner. He was a hotel worker. We lived in the projects, but my mother loved him and respected him, and he did likewise. And I watched them love on each other and care for one another in what some would call in their poverty, but they were rich with love and respect for one another.
Both of my parents were six figures, but guess what? We stood in the free cheese line when I was little. They did that together. They did not start out that way. They did that together. I lived in Morgan Park. We didn't hardly have any furniture in the house, and sometimes we had to be in the literal free cheese line. Both ended up making six figures, but they built each other up to bring that forth.
Okay, let me hop in here because we got 3 more to go.
We just vibing over here.
That's good stuff, though. I mean, that is how you differentiate between, for me, I think high value, we place too much emphasis on value, which in our minds goes straight to what you're worth, versus quality, and that takes your mind to what you're made of, that to me, that's where it goes. So let's start back. We're gonna start over here and go to Verdi. What is your idea of the difference between high quality versus high value?
Real quickly, the ladies hit it right on the head as far as the value and the quality thing. Okay, what I wanted to add to this discussion is what Kevin Samuels is doing is almost like a male empowerment thing. Okay, and that's why it's creating shock value. And the thing is, a high value man actually is in comparison to what's available in the whole field. Okay, so if you're somebody who, let's say for the woman, if you can check all of the boxes that a woman have as a requirement, then that makes you a high value man. And if you know that because the other men in the field are not capable of checking all the boxes, so what happens is, and I think what he's trying to empower is that if you're somebody that is a high value man that can check all the boxes, the table have turned a little bit. You have the right to be selective. You have the right to look for an effort from a woman as well, as far as the effort that you give to her. Before, as young men, we were taught to, you go after the woman, Romeo and Juliet type style. You keep going, you get going. But in this day of age, there's a shortness of quality man and high value man. So if you're somebody who possesses those traits, he's teaching you that now you have the right to be selective. You have the right to say, no, this is not what I want, or this is what I require. And that's the whole thing about what he's doing. Because before, like I said, there was only the man going after the woman, and it was like, you have to go after women, you have to go after women, which it is the man's job to pursue the woman. But once the man shows his hand, once the man shows his quality was high value, and that's when, what I said in the beginning, the woman has to be smart enough to say, hey, this ain't my normal guy. This ain't the normal thing I run into. And she has to put in an extra effort as well. And for what you were saying earlier about the women with children and the women dating with children, she has an extra box, because she has a child. So the first thing is this man fathered material. I've been in a situation where I dated a woman with a child, and I realize that I have to give effort toward the child and in the reverence to the child. I have to show that I'm able, one, to have a relationship with the child, as well as that we can coexist. And I've been in situations where I felt like once I've shown you that I'm not father type, and once I've shown you that I can solve a situation, real quickly, she had a son that would not get up out of bed for school. And I would be over there every morning and I would hear him. She couldn't get him to go to school, couldn't get him to go to school. And I asked her to let me intervene. I asked her, I'm like, well, if I am who you think I am, who I'm supposed to be, I should be able to solve this problem. And so I solved the problem within a week. I stepped in and said, this is what you do. You need to go to bed, you need to get up this time, blah, 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 blah. Within a week's time, he was getting up on his own, catching the bus, going to school. In my opinion, I'm the MVP now. I solved something that you couldn't solve here for years. And I come here in a matter of a week and I solve it. And still, instead of that woman being able to see what she has in me, being in her role, and let me be what I'm supposed to be, it never came into fruition. So I had to leave that situation alone after I showed my hand, because I guess in this day and age, I would call that a high value man. Any man that can step in and solve problems, in my opinion, at this point, is a high value man. And I think only thing that Kevin Samuels is doing is really empowering guys to become a high value man, and realize once you become a high value man, that now you have the right to be selective as well, because what's out here is not of the same. There's not a lot of high value men, not a lot of high quality men here. So if you're rare, if you're an oddity, then place value on yourself. Don't accept anything that comes in front of you. Don't say every woman deserves this. Every woman has to show her value back to the man, or at least recognize that, hey, I got something special here. And that's all I would like to say.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Laverty, for coming on. I appreciate it. I don't know why it's there to echo. Anyway, thank you so much. So I'm gonna let you go backstage. I know I'm holding up everybody, and I just want to thank my co-hosts, Ms. B and Art Chat Daddy Sims. I see that they had to, check out. I understand, because I'm about 30 minutes past. This part is called After the Show Conversations. Okay, so Steve, go ahead and tell me what you think is the difference between a high quality or a high value.
And see, I don't know that I would necessarily, because that could be a semantic thing. I feel of it as like intrinsic value versus extrinsic value. And I think intrinsically, we know the things that are valuable. Whether or not you're hardworking, whether or not you're honest, whether or not you're loyal, all those things make you intrinsically valuable. But I think what we do now as a society is only thing we really look at now is extrinsic value, and those sort of things. That's where the money comes in. That's where all the things you have. And so I think intrinsically, I'm extremely high value. I think extrinsically, I got work to do, and I'm doing things to go about it. But I think one of the things that the other brother was saying about, oh shoot, what was he saying?
You must be over 50.
Was it about when he was talking about women being able to see and appreciate what he's done? I know he said a few things.
Yeah, basically that when guys show who they are, when we put out who we are, a lot of times if it doesn't come in a certain package, it doesn't make a difference. And I think when we can get past the packaging, I think we can make a lot of progress. But right now, especially the younger we are, we tend to look at what package does it come in, and that's all that's important. And as you get older, that packaging thing doesn't become as important. And so you look at people, you view people differently, because now you're looking more inwardly. And I think the problem is a lot of times younger women get caught up, and this is where the whole baby thing comes in. They get caught up with guys who they look at extrinsically, and not even so much for the money they got, but just for the swag they got, just whatever makes them special. And those guys are horrible guys, and everybody's telling them they're horrible guys. But yet and still, you still have the same things happening. And then yet, sure enough, 5 years later, where's the dad? And so now we're looking at it, but we told you, and then 10 years later, they come back to the guys who was chasing them fruitlessly when they were younger, and now they're mad because they said, well, when you had a chance to choose me, you turned me down, and now that you want me, you're looking at me crazy. And I think that is what Naomi.
Yes.
I think what you were saying earlier, when guys are jumping on the bandwagon that are not high value guys, I think the bandwagon they're jumping on is they're saying, okay, see, we know you want a certain caliber guy, but we don't think we're saying you're not in that class of caliber guy. So now you look at the next level down, which is us, and so we should qualify now. And so now we feel like you're in a position where you got to look at us now because what you want you can't get.
See, but what happens is, what I've been noticing is the man decides that all in his mind. He has no quantifiable evidence to show that she can't get who she should. Right. He's like, oh, I've never been able to get a girl like this, whatever boxes that she checks. I've never been able to get her. So now that Kevin Samuel says she is devalued because we graduated high school when she should be about 38. Right. She has a baby. Aha. She can't get the people that she might want. Let me come on and try to holler. But since it's a false narrative and that woman is probably still able to get the people that she desires, she still says no to him. Then he uses that information to say, oh, well, you're not high value anyway, but that's what I'm seeing on social media and different things like that. And I'm like, what? It's just like when we were kids, or not kids, but when we were women, younger women, and we would walk down the street and someone would try to talk to a woman and she would say, oh no, I have a boyfriend. And then you would hear, you see what I'm saying? That the quoting of Kevin Samuels is the F you, because she said no. Do you know, that's what I'm seeing, and it's not to say that there is no truth at all into the things he's saying. Maybe there are some pieces that he's saying that a high value man should have, that he should aspire to. That's fine. But the way that it is being used, to use Xavier's term, is so venomous because it's coming from a place of, I feel like someone else said, I think in the chat, brokenness. Someone used the word brokenness. So then when they internalize, not to pass over the fact that I think Kevin Samuels is also broken, but the people that are spouting what he is saying tend to be internalizing it a certain way and using it for their broken purposes and trying to break other people down so that they can be on their level. Okay. So we have another man that popped in. I guess he finally got the camera stuff right. Mr. I've known Charles not known him. We've never actually met, but we've been on social media connected since what was that, Black Planet?
Ooh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, Black Planet.
I love his voice. He has a radio voice.
So I know you came in toward the end. I think I'm about to crash again. Uh-oh. But I wanted to ask you, so what is your thoughts on high quality versus high value?
Well, for me, a lady as high quality is far more valuable than high value. Value is attributed to her looks or her vanity, and that's all failing. No woman is going to be beautiful forever. High value is something you can take with you. Put in your pocket, and you can go to the rest of your life with this woman. Now the issue is, nowadays, where can you find this woman? I mean, a lot of women are locked up right now. They're locked up in relationships, past relationships. They have past hurts, and and they're still out here trying to get into relationships, and they haven't healed from their from their issues. So high value. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
High value women. I think that's a misnomer. I would never I would never even subscribe to that, a high value woman. You know, either she's virtuous and she's got chaste and she's compassionate and she can actually bond with a man, or she can't. You know, a lot of ladies, and it's unfortunate, you have a lot of ladies who haven't had the pleasure of being raised by a woman that is actually a wife already, not one that's trying to become a wife, not one that's holding submission in her back pocket. No, a woman that's a wife that has the ability to bond with a man and to submit to his will. You know, and it's not to say that a man already comes ready with his will, you know, because most of these guys are, you know, a lot of guys aren't raised right now. You know, they're not raised to be leaders, you know, and that's our biggest issue right now. That's the chasm right now between a lot of black women and black men. You know, there's definitely, we have a chasm between us right now. It needs to be worked out.
Okay. And I also know that you have a daughter. Yes. And so what are you going to teach her about men and relationships? Is she going to be high quality, or what are you going to teach your daughter about men and relationships?
Well, first, I'm her first example as a man, and how I operate in our home. You know, with my wife. You know, that's the one thing she's going to see. She's going to see that her father is putting her first. You know, it's going to, you know, I'm going to make sure that I raise her in this world to be a wife. You know, it actually comes from the father. Most people think it comes from the mother. No, it comes from the father. We teach our daughters how to interact with us. She will be submitted to me. My daughter be submitted to me. If she's not submitted to me, she will never be marriage material for a man. Period. She will never be marriage material. So when she's not going to go out and find herself a husband, she'll choose wrong every time. It's a corporation. When she's ready to be married to a man, then I'll be the one to vet that man and his family, because that's what's going to bond together. That's why we have all these broken families right now, because we have women going out on their own, eloping with men, strange men, having kids, and you know, it doesn't work for anybody. We're just going through a pattern over and over again. You see. But you don't have a lot of men willing to step up to take this responsibility too, because that's what comes with protection and provision. Being a man standing up and saying, look, this is my daughter. This is not just some girl that's going to go out and you know, choose her little boyfriends. No, it's not going to happen. You see.
Okay. I'm sure you're probably setting some people off. We have a person who wrote in and said those antiquated things don't apply to today. Either someone is feeling you and you all work through the issues, or not. It isn't this deep thing. So what would you say to that? Do you feel like you have, and I got two questions for you after this, but this one, do you feel like what you are saying is antiquated, or do you feel like it does still apply today?
Oh, absolutely applies today. This has nothing to do with feelings at all. Feelings is when you leave logic and you enter into emotions. This has nothing to do with emotions. You see. So yeah, it's worked centuries ago, and it will work today. The problem is when you have feelings involved, then you know you throw everything out. You know, you throw everything out to serve those feelings, and I don't deal with feelings at all.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I want to ask the ladies that's left on this call, right? So, if I'm looking for a woman that doesn't have a problem being submissive to me, right? If I think I'm warranted of that, I deserve that, and that's what I want in a woman. Am I wrong for walking away from a woman who does not believe in being submissive? Am I wrong for valuing myself and say, hey, right now, if you don't want to be submissive to me, I can leave the situation alone and I can move on and find somebody else and look for someone who will fit me? And
I don't think so. I think that, again, value is determined by the market. You are your own market ultimately. Right. And so you should have the person who makes you happy. But
Right.
also, again, I think that there's this thing going on where Black women and Black men are in a boxing match. Like
Mhm.
I said, I think you said something earlier when you were on. You said you had done something kind for the woman that you were with, and you did not feel that she recognized that kindness, right? I feel like as a race of people, we have been taught to be kind of hardened, right? So if I want to, and like I said, Okera was on here before, and I used to have this conversation because I was raised by a Creole family where we were taught that, and I think the word submissiveness gets misconstrued because we think about submissiveness as I just take whatever you say, I just bend to your will or whatever. And I
No.
don't think it really means that. What I think it means is that I am open to letting you lead. You have shown yourself as a leader, and I trust you, and I value your place in my family. But also, what goes out the window, or what has gone out the window for us as a race, is being able to show kindness to each other, but especially us to our men without someone making us feel like we're somehow a doormat. So if I say I'd like to cook for him, am I being a doormat? If I say, yes, I worked the job, but I want to give him a massage because he wants one, and I want to do it,
Right.
that's can be frowned upon now, right? Or all of those things. So I think that we have to get out of this posturing with each other as a race where men have to talk to women and say we are all of these negative things as Black women and put us down, and women have to say men are all of these negative things, but most importantly, where we feel like we have to be tough and can't be kind and loving to each other. Like, we deal with enough in this world to not be soft places to fall for each other, and I think that's missing. And so I took a long way around to answer your question. You get to find your soft place to fall, and if that person isn't it for you, go find her. You're not wrong for that.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I said the same thing. I said that you choose who you want to be with. And if this woman wants to be submissive to you, that's nobody's business. She could be submissive. You could choose a submissive woman. There's nothing wrong with you choosing what you want. And I think for the most part, we look at men being able to have options and choices, but we don't look at what women have. We also have options and choices, but somehow that gets misconstrued, whereas we feel like we have to just take whatever is given to us and then move along with that. And on the other hand, we should be able to have just as many options and choices as he does. If we want a specific man, what's wrong with that? If a man wants a specific woman, what's wrong with that? I think we have the ability to choose exactly what we want.
I believe for the women, and you'll have the right to choose, just like we have the right to choose. I just feel like your choices are not as grand as ours are. Meaning that, because one thing that's lost in this whole thing, that I fringe when people say that relationships or marriages are partnerships, we both equal. I don't believe in that. I just don't believe in that. I believe a man has a role and a woman has a role. And a lot of the men for a long time have not lived up to their role, which forced the women to adapt into another role. And so what happens is the woman has a problem with relinquishing that role when somebody comes back in to claim his rightful role. And what happens is, and when you can't get that back, that's what pits us against one another as far as the role thing. I really think if we all focus on getting back to the role, meaning the man lifted themselves up to the point where they're supposed to be, and the women got to the point where they can say, okay, now I can trust. Let's be frank. The Black male. Now I can trust him. Now there are some out here that's going to step up and do what they're supposed to do. I think a lot of this would be all a moot point. Then Kevin Samuels wouldn't even exist at that point, because
Can I just say this?
Yes.
Many of us are broken, and many of us have a lot of toxicity. And we have not learned how to be in connection, communication, and relationship with each other. We have all of these things that we see, but we haven't clearly seen what that proper relationship looks like. For example, some men feel like they don't want their wife to work. And if that's who he is and that's what they choose, then that's fine. But on the other hand, there may be someone else who says, I want to work. I want to be a contributor to the household. Is that wrong? No, it's not. But we tend to make it wrong when a woman has the same thoughts and feelings as perhaps a man does. Now, that doesn't take anything away from the man, but you also have to understand that a lot of women raise children by themselves, which means that it's going to take some time for her to even get to the place where some men think that they need her to be or want her to be, because she's been doing a lot of things on her own. And I hope that makes sense in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. All right. I have one last question. Actually, it was one of the questions I wanted to ask of Charles before we got the whole conversation going. Because again, I know that you have a daughter. And so it's said that women lose their value after 25. And so what will you encourage your daughter to marry before 25? Will you encourage her to pursue her goals and dreams? Will you teach her that a relationship or having a man is like what defines her? What will you teach her with regard to that?
Well, first of all, I don't believe a woman loses value starting at 25. That's for a woman that's seeking out a husband. Now, as far as my daughter's concerned, she'll have value as long as she has me, because she'll be fully submitted to me, and she'll be able to submit to her husband. It's a passing on, we pass on that, we pass that on to her husband. That's the relationship right there. That's the glue. But most people miss that. When Kevin is talking about women losing their value at 25, he's speaking about a woman who's single and looking for a husband on her own, you see. And regardless, whatever way we want to look at it, she's going to choose wrong, because she's going to use her sight and what she feels to govern her decision on choosing a husband, when it's really not her place to choose a husband. She's going to follow what's good for her now. If she's really young, she's going to get a guy that she finds a high value. He can be a drug dealer. He can be a doctor. In a lot of cases they don't choose a doctor, but that right there, that's completely different from trying to gain a marriage. That's different. It's different. My daughter, she will definitely have a connection to me forever. As long as she lives, she'll have a connection to me. As long as she's submitted to me, she can submit to a man. Now, can that man surface? That's the issue right now, because we're lacking in a lot of men right now. They're trying to be egalitarians and live equally with a woman. It doesn't work like that. That's a pipe dream. If I'm a protector, how am I equal to the person that I'm protecting? It doesn't work like that. I don't protect what's equal to me. I don't protect what's not submitted to me. You see?
That's true.
And submission, understand, it's a glue. It's not me demanding that a woman submits to me at all. She's free to submit on her own. If she wants to follow my will and understand that I take care of all this home, everything, I make all this happen. She doesn't have to work, because I don't need her out in the streets, putting herself in the way of another relationship, or having someone else's ear, because that's where all this started, with a woman, someone getting in a woman's ear. I don't need that. See now, but I don't have a problem if they want to be out there. You want to be out there, go out there. But as long as you're here in this house, we're gonna together. We're gonna follow this ship. Someone has to rule this ship. You see, and I'm willing to take on that responsibility. A lot of men aren't. They want to be equal. They want to lean on their woman to pay half the bills. No, we don't do half.
Want to be 50-50.
We don't do half. We don't do that half. No.
Right.
Everything is paid already. I work hard enough.
All righty.
And my daughter, she'll see that.
That's definitely a different viewpoint than what we get on social media every day. Ladies up there, so Denise, I know that you're married. So are you guys 50-50, or is that what do you do?
My husband and I share everything. Okay. And it's only because it makes our lifestyle comfortable. I was working before I met him. I'm working while I'm with him. I have my own goals and dreams, and I want to live my life based upon that. Now, some men may have a problem with that, and that's okay. I didn't choose that type of man. I chose a man that can support what I want to do too. And sometimes men don't agree with that, and that's fine. I just feel like people should be with whomever they are in agreement with, where there's cohesiveness and where there is peace and happiness. My husband and I have peace and happiness. We do what we want to do. We live how we want to live. And that's just the way it is for us. Now, some men may say that doesn't work for them. That's fine. But I was single for about 3 or 4 years before I even dated my husband, just to understand who I was, because I was choosing some guys that weren't good for me. So I had to take a break and start choosing men that were good for me. But I'm not going to give up my dreams because I'm with a man. And there's nothing wrong with it either way. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it. I'm just saying that for me, that works in our household. Everybody has to run their household based upon what brings peace in the household.
Okay. All right. So my last co-host is hanging on with me. I'm going to let you have your final words since you've been around since 2:45. We've had a long show today. So what are your final words?
This has been awesome. I want to echo what a lot of you all have said, and I feel like what Denise just said. You do what is good for you and your household. I want to just reiterate, you are your own market. So we don't have to listen to what Kevin Samuel says. We listen to what our hearts say. We listen to what it is that we consider high value. If someone taking out the garbage and walking the dog and giving you a back massage is high value, that's high value for you, and that's what you should have. Also, don't ever let somebody tell you what you can't get. If you're a woman out here and you have a kid and you are 42 years old, you can have who you want to have, because at the end of the day, spirits are attracted to spirits. Hearts are attracted to hearts. I know you all have seen someone who you feel like that man is so dang on fine. And that woman looks, real questionable. But he's holding her hand and loving her to death, because at the end of the day, spirits speak to spirits, hearts speak to hearts, and people love who they love, not paying attention to all of these other outward things. What I will say is market does determine value. So if the market that you're after values a certain type of person, that's the market. That is who you're competing with. But I want you all to, I rise above competing. I am who I am, and I attract who I attract. You love me or you don't. And that's just what it is.
All right. Thank you, lady. And I will definitely call you for the next show so you can be my co-host.
Okay. It's been fun.
All right. You have a good evening, and thank you again. So I'm going to my final words, and okay, you guys know I'm having an issue with my computer, but my final words is this. As we talk about high value versus high quality and all of that kind of stuff, and we have this whole trend going on where men feel okay, that it's okay to devalue women and say, a lot of negative, toxic things, and women do the same to men. The thing is, if you are single, then we all are not attracting, regardless of what your income is. If you're single, you have not attracted what you want, or if you have attracted it, it didn't want you. High value men, high value women, we all attract people. We all attract people, and we all make a choice as to whether that's someone that we want to keep in our life or not. Whether that man is a 6 or 7 figure man, he just may not be what that woman wants. and hence he's probably over there by that other social media personality. But we all have the right to go for what makes us happy. The pursuit of happiness. We all have the right to have what makes us happy. So never give up. Don't let anyone tell you that you are less than what you are, because you are everything that you think you are. You know that saying, if you think you can't, then you can't. And if you think you can, then you will. So it's all about your thought process and your mindset. So with that, I would like to thank all of you that are still here watching. It looks like, well, we started out at like 21 people watching, and we've bounced around back and forth. But, 2 hours and 20 minutes later, we're at about 7 people, and I really appreciate it. Until next time, because there will be a next time, now that I've kind of figured out this StreamYard thing. I don't know. But you guys have a great night, and I will see you on Facebook.